Hey guys, it's Laree and welcome to this beginner sewing series. This is video 1 in a 4-part series. We are going to kick this off with becoming comfortable with threading our sewing machine. So guys, I do realize that every sewing machine is different, so I do speak in general terms as far as the build of a sewing machine and the mechanics of a sewing machine. It is the same. So the thread has to pass through the same mechanics regardless of the sewing machine. So I do speak in general terms so that whether you have a machine like mine or not, you can still follow it and you can still thread your machine. The goal for me is for you to become comfortable with whatever machine that you have. So, are you ready? Let's thread our machine.
Before we dive into threading the machine, I thought it'd be a good idea to pause here and review the parts of the machine. Now, if you already know the parts of your machine and you want to skip this, that is perfectly fine. I'll leave a timestamp so you can head right to threading. But let's go over the parts of the machine now.
Here we have the hand wheel. Every machine will have this wheel on the side. This wheel manually operates your sewing machine. It is very important to always turn the hand wheel toward you and not away from you, this way. Now, it's okay if you make a short or a small rotation just to move the fabric backward using the hand wheel, but to continually turn the hand wheel backward, it will eventually damage your machine, so make sure to always move the hand wheel toward you in this way. And what the hand wheel does is it moves your needle up and down. Next, we have the area where the thread is kept. So some thread is loaded on the top of the machine like this. There are other model sewing machines that loads the thread to the side. So instead of this being here, it will be turned horizontally and the thread will go on. Next, we have the stitch dial. On the Brother series, the basic home sewing machines, the stitch dial is an all-in-one dial here with this wheel. This is your reverse button. As you can see, it makes a little U-turn, like turn around. This is your reverse button. On some sewing machines, the reverse button might be here, but it's usually indicated by this little turn around, this upside down U shape here. Next, moving over on our sewing machine, we have the tension selector. The tension selector. This controls how tight or how loose your stitches are. Okay, so a rule of thumb, the higher the number, the higher the tension. The lower the number, the lower the tension. Next, we have your presser foot. And on this sewing machine, I can release my presser foot just by pushing down on it when it's lifted, just like that. There is a lever on every sewing machine. You can feel your hand around the back. For this sewing machine, the lever is here. There is a lever on every sewing machine that lowers and lifts this entire shank. So to put this presser foot back on, all I need to do is align this little bar on my presser foot, align this bar with the hook, lower, hear that little click, and lift. And there it is, I've attached my presser foot. Other sewing machine models may have a little button on the back of this piece that will release the sewing the presser foot. Whatever your machine does, just follow those instructions, and I'm sure we've talked about it in our lesson as well. So this lever here lowers and lifts the presser foot. Okay, the presser foot is really important. Lowering it and lifting it at the right times is very important because it activates this tension. Okay, next we're going to move down to this area here. All of this. This is metal on this sewing machine, while this part is plastic. This is called the throat plate. And on the throat plate, you're gonna find measurements, which tells you how much seam allowance you are sewing on your garment. Okay, and they're in the form of fractions. So we have 3/4, 5/8, 1/2, 3/8, and all the way in there we will find 1/4. Okay, also on the throat plate are the dog feed. Now you can put your finger on there, but I suggest you turn your sewing machine off first and keep your feet away from the pedal. You can feel the dog feed underneath it here. They're kind of rough. As you're sewing, the dog feet move up and down through the machine like this, making this rotation up, back, and down, and it pulls your fabric through as you're sewing. So when you do begin to sew, there is no need to push your fabric. There is no need to pull your fabric. The dog feet do the job, okay? So still here, we have the bobbin area. This is the bobbin cover. On this sewing machine, all I have to do is press my fingertips down on the ridges of the bobbin cover and pull it back. There are other sewing machines that may have a little button here that will activate a spring that will lift the cover off, but I can take this off completely. Okay, and inside of here is going to be my bobbin. This is our bobbin. Now, in order to fill this bobbin, it does need to go here on the bobbin winder. Okay, and to activate our bobbin winder, we just slide it to the right. And when that happens, it deactivates our sewing machine needle. So while the winder is activated, our sewing machine will not sew stitches. And once you're all done winding your bobbin, you can just push it back to the left, take it off, and that's it. You have thread on your bobbin. So this is your bobbin. Inside of here, inside of the throat plate in the bottom, is a little piece that shifts around just a little bit. It's normal for it to wiggle around in there some. This is called the bobbin case. It holds your bobbin. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put this bobbin right back in here. I'm just gonna drop it in here. There we go. Okay. On some models, there will be a razor on this side to cut your bobbin thread. On most machines, there is a razor on the far left side to cut the thread of your upper threads after you have threaded your machine, or after you've completed sewing a stitch, and instead of taking scissors to cut, you can just cut them off with this little razor. So on this machine, there are 2 razors. Okay, so those are the basic parts of our sewing machine. To begin threading our machine, we're going to make sure first of all that our presser foot has been raised. And then we're going to go ahead and thread the upper thread first. You can really do this in any order, but today in our demo we're going to thread the upper thread first. So we'll start by placing our thread on top of our sewing machine. We're going to take the end and we're going to put it through the first holder. Every machine has some type of clamp that will hold the thread just here. So with 2 hands holding your thread taut, go ahead and put your thread through, and then there is going to be an opening here to bring your thread down. Also, you'll notice that on your machine the steps to threading is also numbered. Okay, so now we're going to bring it down and around the tension dial, also holding your thread still between your 2 fingers and holding it taut, so kind of tight. So we're gonna bring it through there, and once you get it down through this slot and around the tension dial, just kind of floss it there to make sure that the thread actually gets in between the tension discs. Now we're gonna bring the thread up and we're gonna bring it into the take up lever. So we wanna make sure that we can see it. We're gonna use our hand wheel to turn our take up lever to the highest point and really use some tension to wrap the thread around and pull it back through the take up lever. As you can see, my thread has made it in. Now it's time to bring that thread down. And on most machines, there is also some type of hook here that's gonna hold the thread in place and hold it close to your needle. So go ahead and put it behind that little hook. And now you've made it to the needle and you can go ahead and thread it. Some machines may have an automatic threader. If your machine has that, then go ahead and use that feature to automatically thread. So put your thread through the eye of the needle, just like that. And there you go. Now, if you're having difficulties with your thread, maybe it's a bit frayed, then go ahead and take your scissors, your nippers, and just cut off that frayed end. Also, if you're having issues with getting your thread through the needle, you can moisten the end of the thread, or you can moisten the back of the needle right here behind the eye, and the moisture will attract the thread and allow it to go through. It will actually attract the thread and kind of pull it through the needle. Okay, so that is the upper thread. Now, all right guys, thank you so much for watching. I really did hope this helped. If this was helpful to you, please let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback. If you have any questions as well, let me know. Next video is gonna post next Wednesday, and we're moving on to the bobbin thread. All right guys, this has been great, and I hope to sew with you soon. Bye.